doors never locked to me. Now I'm
Okay, thank you again for coming. This is now number 15 of 25, so there are only 10 left. So if you have not had a chance to see many of them yet, there's still 4 more this week and 6 more next week. Oh my goodness. So make sure you get in your chance to see them. Anyhow, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Shari. It's been nice having her in class. And she's going to be talking to us about date rape drugs. She's a typical Laurentian. She's graduating and it's like, I need time off. I'm just taking time off. I just need time off. And so we'll decide her future plans in that time off. Without further ado.
All right, good day everyone. Today my presentation will be on the detection of date rape drugs in beverages. So to first start off, I want to define what is date rape. So date rape is a non-consensual activity which usually occurs between two individuals who are already acquainted with each other. So this could be a friend or someone you met on a date. Date rape usually occurs and results in violence and aggression. So, there are typically instances where the person is abused or molested. And these cases usually go under the radar because they think they know the person, so they don't want to report these incidents. It's usually associated with the misconceptions of consent. So, because I took her on a date, I deserve to have sex with her, or she doesn't really mean to say no, she really means yes, all of these misconceptions. And also, rapists don't usually go around with the word rapist marked on their foreheads. They're typically just normal guys, with normal jobs and normal friends. And the victims who undergo date rape, they usually have long-term post-traumatic stress disorder. So they usually have insomnia, nightmares, this feeling of guilt, or an overwhelming of emotions. So looking at the date rape drugs, this is a list of 12 known date rape drugs, but there are several more being used. Some individuals are using other drugs to just imitate as date rape drugs, but I'll be focusing mainly on the 4 here: alcohol, rohypnol, GHB, and ketamine. So to look at drug-facilitated date rape, alcohol. Many people don't really consider alcohol as a date rape drug. I mean, we just think that it's a recreational time where we just go and have fun with our friends. But alcohol has several effects. It loosens inhibitions, it triggers aggressive behavior, it contributes to a lack of common sense, and a feeling of invincibility. When we go downtown and we see our friends break dancing or believe they're break dancing when they just look like they're having a seizure or something. This whole thing comes along with alcohol. Usually alcohol, is mainly resulting more of a consensual sexual activity, but we need to keep in mind that it does result in date rape as well. Alcohol is the main medium for which date rape drugs are transported to be ingested, so it's often mixed with date rape drugs. Looking at the first date rape drug, rohypnol, in the corner is the chemical structure of it. This is a strong sedative or sleeping pill, often slipped into alcoholic drinks and can cause death at high dosage. And it takes 20 to 30 minutes to come into full effect. At 2 hours, it's at its peak, and it lasts for about 8 hours. And the immediate side effects include dizziness, disorientation, nausea, and a feeling of hot or cold. So another drug is gamma hydroxybutyrate. Again, chemical structure in the corner. This drug is intended to treat for insomnia and narcolepsy. It's a tasteless and odorless liquid/powder, and can be lethal when mixed with alcohol, just like rohypnol. Side effects last for about approximately 2 to 3 hours, and to really know how much dosage it takes, think of like an 8-ounce to 12-ounce fluid. It only takes about 8,000 ppm to 12,000 ppm for this drug to take full effect. So ppm here refers to parts per million, and this shows us a very dilute concentration. So it takes 1 ppm to give 1 microgram per liter of this drug. So just about 8 grams to 12 grams, so a very small amount. And another drug is ketamine. The effects are blurred vision, just like others, have similar effects. Confusion, drowsiness, altered blood pressure, heart rate, memory loss, and total paralysis. And in an 8-ounce, 12-ounce fluid, it takes a much smaller than the previous drug. It takes about approximately 1,000 ppm to 2,000 ppm for this drug to take into full effect. And the effects of ketamine, takes 15 to 40 minutes and lasts up to 24 hours. And between the period of 24 to 48 hours is when side effects begin to disappear and the individual is once again normal again. So this shows how long this drug stays within the individual's body. So how to protect oneself. The main purpose of my presentation is to look at the drink test coaster and how effective this coaster is. So I decided to show a small video, I won't show all of it, to show how useful this device is in cases of where someone can be victimized.
Some fun having drinks with friends when suddenly you start to feel a lot more woozy than you should after a couple of drinks. This YouTube video shows just how easy it could be for someone to slip something in your drink.
Really want to go to a bar and actually experience that situation.
I think girls nowadays don't even really care about things like that. The guy buys them a drink, they take it,
It almost happened to a pair of women at the Sugar Shack on Greenville Avenue last month. But police say a bartender noticed reserve Dallas officer Brad Helms put something in their drinks.
He was recently promoted, less than a year ago, to rank lieutenant. From my understanding, he was an outstanding reserve officer.
You never know who can do something to your drink.
Neil Ludwig runs several bars that now offer drink-safe coasters. They can actually test a drink for drugs.
You want their customers to feel safe when they go out to drink. You want them to feel like they're secure and safe in our establishment.
Ludwig says the bartender at Sugar Shack went across the street to Whiskey Bar to get one of the coasters because he knew they had the item, which helped provide evidence the off-duty officer was up to something.
And you can do that with your finger in the drink or the straw.
Dennis Burns drinks.
So I'm going to also explain how the drink test coaster is used. So this is a typical drink test coaster. I got this off Drink Safe Tech. They have a wide variety of different coasters which they are selling. So, I've never seen it at the Viking bar. So if they wanted to get this, I think we're all pretty safe here, but just for fun. And how this coaster works is they have two test regions, one here and one here. And for the suspect drink, you place a drop at A and B. And if the color turns dark blue, then your drink has been spiked. And this is just another region for, you had another drink and you want to do another test. And typically they stated that within 2 minutes you're supposed to get conclusive information, but further on we'll realize that's not really the case. So, what's going on at regions A and B? So basically they have designed a thin device which when lined with polymers molecules create dye-tag versions of the drug with a colorimetric indicator. So I'm going to try and explain this a little bit. Basically, it's a molecular imprinted polymer. So they start with a polymer of the drug, which they kind of imprint on a matrix. It's washed off, leaving the imprintments, and then they add the dye functionalized drug to it. So this is what's on the pre-made on the coaster. So if you put the suspect at this region, right here, if you have the drink and you place a drop of the beverage onto the spot, the drug will automatically have affinity towards the imprinted region and then attach itself to there, and then this will then release the dye forming the color change which you visually see. Okay. So testing the effectiveness of the drink test coaster. A study was done by two professors, Professor Myers and Almerel, both at Florida International University, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. And to detect the effectiveness of the coasters, they placed a drop of suspect beverage onto the 2 test spots on the coaster, and if the color turned dark purple, then the date rape drug was detected. So they did this by placing the coaster under fluorescent lighting and then using high resolution cameras took pictures of the coaster over a period of time. And they did this using various concentrations of the drugs in both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. Okay, so they used 5 drugs, sorry. They used GHB, ketamine, rohypnol, Xanax, and ecstasy. And for the GHB analysis in deionized water, they realized that the initial color change is from 0 ppm to 2000 ppm. They changed to green first. And then after 30 minutes, they realized that at 5,000 ppm to 20,000 ppm, there was a positive detection of the GHB drug detected by the coaster and can be seen by the blue coloration. Even though there was a drug GHB present at 1,000 and 3,000 ppm, it needed a higher concentration for it to be detected by the coaster. So they once again looked at it as non-alcoholic beverages, and initial spots just mimic the color of the drink. So for lemonade or the cranberry, just showed, yellow and green just for initial spots. And after 30 minutes, they realized that at 20,000 ppm, this is where a positive detection occurred. Whereas at 10,000 ppm, if you previously remember me saying, it really requires just 8,000 to 12,000 ppm. And if it cannot be detected at 10,000 ppm, this means that these juices are probably acting as a masking agent for the drug. And this is really effective for the use of the coaster because we need it to be detected from 10,000 ppm and onwards. So they followed this again with alcoholic beverages, meaning 5%, 12%, and Corona. And they realized that initially at 10,000 ppm, there was a positive detection of GHB and the color change was blue. So they did it again with ketamine, and they realized that ketamine was much harder to visually analyze, and ketamine began with a light pink coloration. And for test spots in deionized water, just again showing the initial coloration. Okay. For 0 ppms in both GHB and ketamine shows issue because at 0 ppm you shouldn't be seeing any detection of the drug. I am not sure exactly why they saw coloration, possibly some contamination, maybe they reused reused some container and something happened and there's a detection, but there shouldn't be any, but yeah. So after 30 minutes, at 0 to 5 and 500 ppm, they realized that there was a purple ring around the circle of the spot, and at 1,000 to 2,000 ppm, there was a light blue ring. However, for 1,000 and 2,000 ppm, the data was kind of inconclusive because they couldn't really tell whether or not there was a positive or negative detection of the ketamine. But right after 3,000 ppm to 10,000 ppm, they got a positive detection of the ketamine represented by the color changes here. So it still requires a high concentration of the drug in order for the coaster to be really effective. And they looked again in alcoholic beverages, and after 30 minutes, they realized that at 5,000 ppm, there's a positive detection. And again, here, with the same way with GHB, they use the juices again, and this reaction was much quicker at 5,000 ppm. So we know that it's not masking anything here, so the ketamine was easily detected. And for Xanax, rohypnol, and ecstasy, they got no data. No matter how much they increased the concentration, the coaster just did not work. So this is a huge issue. So we know that the disadvantage here is that the coaster can only detect 2 of the several different date rape drugs, GHB and ketamine. Another issue is false positives. So if drink contains any milk substance, it would be a false positive. So imagine you're on a date, you see one of those cool coasters and let me trade it out with more drinking Baileys or some, cream liqueur, if it tests false positive, you don't want to waste it. Or even if you're on a date, you don't want it to be awkward, like, you know, you probably spiked my drink, you know, that would be really weird. So that's an issue right here. Also, they said that it takes 2 minutes, but to really get really good data, you have to wait a much longer time. For the coaster to detect concentrations, to detect GHB and ketamine, the concentration of dosage has to be relatively high. And color change is kind of difficult to see. I mean, going from green to blue, and with the color change around the ring, it's kind of hard to see, especially on the dim lightings at bars. So this can be an issue. But even then, you know, they're still promoting safety. So another company called Drink Savvy, they have created Drink Savvy cups and Drink Savvy straws. And basically it acts the same way, where if your drink is spiked, the linings of the cup will change color, or the straw will turn from clear to red. So, you know, they're really trying. And also, I saw a research proposal based on a marketing thing that they want to like take off, where if you buy their nail polish, you can put it on, it's a clear color, and if you think your drink is being drugged, just swirl your finger around it, and then the nail polish changes color. That is pretty awesome. So those are just all the products that they're trying to promote right now. So to truly prevent yourself from being a victim of dairy drug, you know, don't accept open drinks, you know, avoid punch bowls. If you leave your drink somewhere, you know, don't pick it up, just leave it and get a new one. If someone offers you a drink, go with them to the bar and take it directly from the bartender. You know, there's safety in numbers. Have a buddy system. So in cases where you actually do get spiked with the drug, it's better for your friend to take you home or take you to the hospital than for a stranger to take you somewhere else. So final message that I like to leave you guys with is, rape drugs are out there, are they in here? So if you're going out, be safe. Keep in mind, it is there, people. It's probably not in our small little Appleton area, but you know we're venturing out as college kids, just be safe. So I want to thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you, Dave, for helping me. And are there any questions?
Students go first. There you go.
Could the cup and straw, those other things you mentioned, could they detect the other 3 drugs that couldn't be by the other method?
For the straw, they said they could detect rohypnol. I didn't really find a study in which they tried. But for the cup, they said it only can detect ketamine and GHB.
What are the costs of all these different materials? Like if you were going to buy the coasters for your bar, are they like $10 a coaster, or are they like 50 cents a coaster? Are they worth the price?
They're actually worth the price. I think they sold them in bulk. So if I recall correctly, I thought I saw like a set for like $32. I don't remember how much was in the $32 pack, but it seemed like it came in with a lot of coasters with it.
Okay.
Go ahead. So one of the slides you showed that you had pHs next to each of the different drinks. So did they discuss anything about the pH sensitivity of the detection?
It said it detected it more at acidic pHs than basic pHs. So like for instance, the milk, where it's very basic, they said it would yield a false positive more than if it was acidic, like those juices, where it would detect a color change, but at high concentrations as well.
Okay, so the milk is a false positive because of the pH of the milk. Okay.
So it had problems with the detection limits, where it only read high concentrations. Could they improve the detection limit by changing the way they do the sampling? So I guess the question is, how did they apply the drink to the coaster? Like, if they added, say, 1 drop, could they have added 1 drop and then wait a couple minutes, add another drop to increase the concentration? Would that work?
I don't think they did that. What I kind of got that they created different concentrations and then put a drop and then analyzed all of the.
Because I think it can be sort of like spotting a TLC plate where you put 1 spot on and it's not enough, so you put another spot on top of it. So you're effectively increasing the concentration. So what this would do is allow you to detect the lower concentration by evaporation.
I'm not really sure.
Other questions? Let's thank our speaker again then. Come tomorrow afternoon for more talks. Class dismissed.